Good morning, everyone. Pursuant to notice, the Committee on Science and Technology meets to consider the following measures. H.R. 3776, Energy Storage Technology Advancement Act of 2007, and H.R. 3775, Industrial Energy Efficiency Research and Development Act of 2007. We will put the committee on notice. We had originally also, we're going to deal with a bill from Mr. Saxton today, but apparently it is not ready, and we'll be doing it next week. So I assume everybody's working. We'll get that ready to go. We will now proceed with the markup, and I will begin with a brief statement. Today, the Science and Technology Committee will consider two bills. The first is the Energy Storage Technology Advancement Act, H.R. 3776, and I would like to thank my friend, Ranking Member Hall, for his interest in this important issue and the work he and his staff have put into the bill. H.R. 3776 includes provisions from a bill Mr. Hall introduced earlier this year, and I'm glad we could incorporate that into it. I will offer a manager's amendment to H.R. 3776, which makes some technical changes and other improvements to the bill. And I would like to thank Mr. Hall, Ms. Biggers, Mr. Inglis, and their staffs for working with us to develop the amendment. The second bill we will mark up today is the Industrial Energy Efficiency Research and Development Act, H.R. 3775. H.R. 3775 was introduced by Energy and Environment Subcommittee Chairman Nick Lamson. I understand Chairman Lamson and Ranking Member Inglis have worked together on a manager's amendment that will make several changes to the introduced legislation. I'm glad to see the committee tackle such an important and underserved area as this. I know Mr. Lamson has worked hard with the industry, universities, DOE, and the minority to make this a good bill. I now recognize Mr. Hall to present his opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add my support to the two bills that we're marking up today. Both of them work toward efficiently using our country's energy resources. Industrial Energy Efficiency Research and Development Act will reinforce the good work the Department of Energy is currently doing in the Industrial Technologies Program to help American companies lower their use of energy in the production of their products and in the running of their plants and their businesses, which is very important. The Energy Storage Technology Advancement Act will also help our country use energy more efficiently, in that it establishes a program at the Department of Energy to develop energy storage devices for stationary and vehicular applications. This will allow our country to utilize renewable energy sources to the maximum extent possible and allow for traditional generation to become even more efficient, as energy storage devices will reduce the need for inefficient and inexpensive power plants to be ramped up during times of high energy demand. The bill, Mr. Chairman, will also help pave the way toward the development of plug-in hybrid vehicles by furthering research on the storage system necessary to make the vehicles viable, widespread transportation option. I introduced similar energy storage legislation earlier this year. Mr. Chairman, I really want to thank you for including a lot of my language in the version that's before us today. I yield back my time.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. And now, without objection, members may place statements in the record. At this point, we will now consider H.R. 3776, Energy Storage Technological Advancement Act of 2007. I yield myself 5 minutes to describe the bill. As we learned at the subcommittee hearing, advances in energy storage technologies offer a number of economic, environmental, and security benefits, including greater efficiency and reliability of the electricity delivery system, better integration of renewable energy supplies, and less reliance on conventional transportation fuels. My bill authorizes basic and applied energy storage research programs at the Department of Energy, which largely adopts language from a bill Mr. Hall introduced earlier this year. The basic research is authorized at $50 million for each fiscal year, and applied research is authorized at $80 million for each fiscal year. In addition, the bill authorizes a program of demonstrations of stationary energy storage technologies with goals such as improving security for emergency response infrastructure, addressing management of overloaded lines, and improving reliability of energy supply in rural communities. The second demonstration program focuses on advancements in storage technologies for vehicles, with additional focus on onboard energy management and cooling systems, ways to reduce manufacturing costs, and integration of vehicles with the electricity grid and smart metering technology. Finally, H.R. 3776 includes a 50-50 federal, non-federal cost share arrangement for both stationary and vehicular demonstration programs. I believe this is a good bill because it authorizes important research and development programs on energy storage technologies and expands on this research to demonstrate promising storage technologies which have the potential to significantly change how we manage our energy consumption while diversifying our energy supplies, and I ask for your support on this passage. I now recognize Mr. Hall to present any remarks that he might have on the bill.
I can't find what they've written for me to say, but,
Well, that was a very good summary. Does anyone else wish to be recognized? Mr. McNerney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say that I see this as a very important part of our energy future. We need to do a couple of things here. We need to break our dependence on foreign oil. We need to develop new sources of energy. We need to cut down greenhouse gas emissions, and this will help us in all three of those endeavors. So I give strong support for this bill, and I urge my colleagues to do the same.
Would anyone else like to be recognized? I will say for the ones of you that were not at the hearing, this really has great potential, and I'm excited that we can be a part of this. Also, that we're getting this out early enough, and I know that we've pressed staff on both sides, but we're getting this out early enough that I think it can be a part of an energy bill later on, and to be a very good part of that. So I ask unanimous consent that the bill is considered as read and open to amendment at any point, and that the members proceed with amendments in the order of the roster. Without objection, so ordered. The first amendment on the roster is the chairman's amendment offered by the chair. The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendments to H.R. 3776 offered by Mr. Gordon of Tennessee.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize myself for 5 minutes to explain the amendment. My amendment makes a number of technical changes and includes some of additional definitions to clarify the bill. For example, the amendment broadens the purpose section of the bill so that it more accurately reflects the full scope of the bill. In carrying out the research activities in the bill, the department is instructed to fund work with industry and academia, in addition to work in the national labs. The amendment also strikes a specific number of demonstration projects in Section 6, as suggested by the Department of Energy, leaving the number of projects carried out at the discretion of the Secretary of Energy. In addition, the amendment creates a research program focused on secondary applications and disposal of used batteries from electric vehicles. The amendment also adds a new section to ensure that the Secretary coordinates the Department's activities under this bill with other relevant Department and federal research programs. It requires a merit review process in accordance with 2005 Energy Policy Act. Finally, the amendment specifically authorizes $30 million for both demonstration programs. And again, I would like to thank Mr. Hall, Ms. Biggers, Mr. Inglis, and their staffs for work on this amendment, as I do believe the passage makes H.R. 3776 a better bill, and urge my colleagues to support this amendment. Is there further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Mr. Hall is recognized.
I certainly see the manager's amendment strives to make improvements, as you pointed out, and we support these improvements.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Let me once again say, your earlier work was a great help in the base product here. And this, if anything, this clearly is a very much of a joint bipartisan bill, and I appreciate the way our staffs have worked together on it. Is there anyone else have any comments? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. The second amendment on the roster is offered by the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Inglis. Are you prepared to proceed? Mr. Inglis is well represented. So, Ms. Biggers, are you ready to proceed? The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 3776, offered by Mr. Inglis of South Carolina and Ms. Biggert of Illinois.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. The gentlelady is recognized for 5 minutes to explain her amendment. Staff would make a note of that, Larry. We need to get that fixed. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for working with Mr. Ingles and me on this amendment. As I mentioned at the subcommittee markup of this bill last week, I asked scientists at Argonne National Lab to review an early draft of this bill, and they pointed out that hydrogen can be an efficient energy storage medium, just like compressed air or flywheels. Solar, wind, and renewables could be used to produce hydrogen through electrolysis, hydrogen that is later used by fuel cells to produce electricity. Based on their recommendation, this amendment would enable the Department of Energy to support research related to the use of hydrogen as an energy storage medium through the Applied Energy Storage Research Program created in Section 5 of this bill. At the same time, we've made sure this research is focused on hydrogen as an energy storage medium and doesn't duplicate work already underway as part of the department's hydrogen and fuel cell programs. Hydrogen has so much potential to not only transform how we produce and use energy, but also how we store energy. This amendment recognizes that potential and makes an investment in the research and development needed to realize that potential. If we can develop technologies to safely, efficiently, and economically store energy, so much of our future energy demand could be met without expanding energy supplies or investing in new energy infrastructure. And I want to thank the chairman for supporting this amendment. I also want to commend Ranking Member Hall for the energy storage provisions in his Energy for America bill, which served as the basis for many of the provisions in this bill before us today. And finally, the ranking member of the Energy and Environmental Subcommittee, Mr. Ingles, and I'm sorry that he's not here, because I know he would. He has a lot to say about hydrogen, but we both share a strong interest in hydrogen and energy research, and I enjoyed working with him on this amendment. So I would yield back the balance of my time at this time.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. Are there other amendments? If no, then the vote is on the bill. H.R. 3776 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now recognize Mr. Hall for a motion.
Move that the committee favorably report H.R. 3776 as amended to the House with the recommendation the bill as amended do pass. Furthermore, I move that the staff be instructed to prepare the legislative report, make necessary technical and conforming changes, and that the chairman take all necessary steps to bring the bill before the House for consideration.
The question on the motion to report the bill favorably, those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is favorably reported. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Members will have 2 subsequent calendar days in which to submit supplemental, minority, or additional views on the measure ending Friday, October the 19th at 9 a.m. I move pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 22 of the Rules of the House of Representatives that the committee authorize the chairman to offer such motions as may be necessary in the House to adopt and pass H.R. 3776, the Energy Storage Technological Advancement Act of 2007, as amended, without objection. So ordered. Before we take up the next amendment, with that unanimous consent, I'd like to just take a moment, since we have a good number of folks here. The first part of January, we intend to have a fact-finding trip to the South Pole. I want to go ahead and give you notice because sometimes this stuff gets through the mail a little bit late. For the ones of you that haven't been there, it is really, I think, one of the most memorable experiences and important experiences for this committee. Because there have been a number of folks that have expressed an interest, we're limited to only 10 bunks, if you will, there at the South Pole. Spouses will be able to go, but they'll have to stay in New Zealand at that time, and there'll be some other reviews along the way there. And so because we are limited, we have decided to give first priority to those folks that have not been. And I feel like the chairman should be a leader in that. I have been, although it was some time ago, and as I told you, those were, I guess, 10 memorable days with Mr. Sensenbrenner and I going to ourselves. And so I do have a bad... Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Mr.
I always wanted to go, but not much, and I'll yield my 2 bunks to Mr. Sensenbrenner.
Well, since I have been, then I am going to be on the wait list, and Mr. Costello will lead that delegation. We are trying to get it coordinated with the January schedule, which I know we're all interested in. Well, I have some insight, which doesn't mean that it is accurate, but it is likely that we are going to come back in. I think it's something like the 16th or something. I believe it's the 22nd. Tuesday is the State of the Union. The Monday before that is Martin Luther King Day. So it puts us into that previous week, and so hopefully it'll be the latter part of the week. With that said, and then we also have limitations on when they can take us down there. Our limitation puts us in that first week in January, which means that there'll probably be a travel time over the New Year's Eve, just for you to know. We hopefully will get this out to you very specifically very soon, but I wanted to give you some heads up on that. Mr. Chandler is always a great resource in suggesting places that the committee to go. Let me say to all of you that if you have any recommendations or suggestions, this will be a longer trip, and again, for your purposes, it takes 10 days to 12 or 13 days. We have been trying to look at those things where you can take long weekends after votes on Thursday back on a Monday or Tuesday, which better allows us to get a plane where some of the other committees can take, the August recess. If you do that, you wait very long to find out whether you can go, and it's hard to make plans. And I guess, Mr. Narwhal, just to follow up from what I know on scheduling, as we all know, we'll probably be in session in December. But it looks like it's going to be a Tuesday night to Thursday afternoon, only trying to do conferences and reports and appropriations. So that will be somewhat, and hopefully, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. That's a whole other matter. If you act right, maybe we can get out sooner. That's the information that I have. Does anyone have anything they want to relate, since we are here in family, before we move to the next bill? Mr. Lamson.
Mr. Chairman, you had also mentioned some time ago the possibility of a science committee trip to the global warming meeting that's going to be held in December. You want to say something about it and let people be thinking?
Yes, there will be a follow-up to global warming hearing. It's going to be in Bali. I think Mrs. Sensenbrenner is making plans to go. I think there's going to be a leadership plane or two, but there can be individual. We can make arrangements for individuals to go. But let me tell you, they are expecting 10,000 people. Now, I've never been to Bali, but it would seem to me that 10,000 people is a lot of folks over there. So that if you have an interest in this, you need to let us know, and your office has received at least 1 or 2 communications. You need to let us know pretty quickly. And again, we're somewhat hostage to how long we're going to be in session. Let's see, can someone tell me when that first date is? Okay, the first week, okay. Ms. Sensenbrenner says that it'll be, I guess, the first and second week of December. The first week is just sort of rigmarole, and the second week is when you really get into some of the subjects. So it's a little bit awkward in terms of timing. but we'll certainly work with anybody on that.
Mr. Chairman, just as a little advertisement, having been on a fair number of different Codels, the very best one I was ever on was the South Pole trip. So if anybody's not done it, there's a bunch of other things to go along with just going to the South Pole and the overall package. If you have any interest in earth science or science at all, it is just a fantastic trip.
It really opens your eyes. I mean, you'll see things you've never seen, and they are very relevant to this comedian's jurisdiction. Anyone else? If not, then we will proceed. We will now consider H.R. 3775, Industrial Energy Efficiency Research and Development Act of 2007. I yield the chairman to the chairman of Energy and Environmental Subcommittee, Mr. Lamson, 5 minutes to describe this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing this bill up today for the full committee markup. This bill authorizes and expands the Department of Energy's Industrial Technologies Program through better coordination of interdepartmental research, enhancing the Industrial Assessment Centers program at universities, and supporting more research and development of new innovations and technologies as they relate to efficiency and environmental improvements of most energy-intensive manufacturing processes. On September 25th, we heard expert energy industry witnesses testify as to the need for and timeliness of this legislation. I introduced the bill on the 9th of October, and last week we marked the bill up in subcommittee. The Industrial Technologies Program is already widely recognized for producing a number of high-quality, market-ready technological advances that have saved industry literally billions in energy costs, consequently making these industries more competitive and preserving American jobs. Unfortunately, we've seen the budget for this program drop rapidly in the last few years. This legislation is needed to continue supporting the successes of this program while shifting the funding levels to reflect our priorities to ensure energy efficiency, environmental performance, and competitiveness through industrial efficiency research and development. I ask my colleagues to support this important legislation. I yield back my time.
Mr. Hall is recognized for any remarks on the bill.
Mr. Chairman, I'm in full agreement with it. I yield back my time.
Does anyone else wish to be recognized? I ask unanimous consent that the resolution is considered as read and open to amendment at any point, and that members proceed with the amendments in the order of the roster. Without objection, so ordered. The first amendment on the roster is a manager's amendment offered by Mr. Lamson. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman. I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 3775, offered by Mr. Lamson of Texas and Mr. English of South Carolina.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
Mr. Chairman, this amendment incorporates suggestions by witnesses at our hearing and outside stakeholders who provided comments on the bill. Now, I want to thank Mr. English for working with us on this amendment that makes some minor corrections and additions to the bill. We have added an additional finding to further highlight the past successes of the program and working with certain energy-intensive industries. In addition, this amendment strikes subsection C of Section 3 to eliminate duplicative statements of authority already given to the Secretary of Energy. And finally, the amendment adds a biannual report to be submitted to Congress to provide added accountability and provide some specific documentation on how the program coordinates with the industrial sector. And once again, I thank my colleague, Mr. English, for working with me. I encourage all of our colleagues to support this amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Does anyone else wish to be recognized?
Chairman, just briefly.
Mr. English is recognized.
I just echo what Mr. Lamson said and add this, that the Department of Energy is rightly focused on some exciting industries that are very sexy and may yield some real energy savings. But then there are also these existing industries that use a huge amount of energy that we hope that they continue to focus in on, because that's where additional gains can be made. So while we go after things like high-tech industries and computers, technologies, applications, those sorts of things, we also need to continue to focus on the nation's steel, chemical, metal casting, forest products, glass, petroleum mining, and other manufacturings that have a track record of joining public and private dollars to increase efficiency and decrease energy consumption. A trust that that is what this amendment will help see that the Department of Energy focuses on these existing industries as well as the new and exciting ones. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Further discussion? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. Are there other amendments? If no, then the vote is on the bill. H.R. 3775 is amended. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Independent chair, the ayes have it. I recognize Mr. Hall to offer a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee favorably report H.R. 3775 as amended to the House with the recommendation that the bill do pass. Furthermore, I move that the staff be instructed to make necessary technical and conforming changes, and that the chairman take all necessary steps to bring the bill before the House for consideration. I yield back.
Questions on the motion to report the bill favorably? Those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is favorably reported. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Members will have 2 subsequent days in which to submit supplemental, minority, or additional views on the measure, ending Friday, October the 19th at 9 a.m. I move pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 22 of the Rules of the House of Representatives that the committee authorize the committee chairman to offer such motions as may be necessary in the House to adopt and pass H.R. 3775, Industrial Energy Efficiency Research and Development Act of 2007, as amended, without objection, so ordered. Let me thank the members for being here today. This is a good showing. These are 2 good bills, and they're really going to make us relevant in this, our energy bill, and I hope that all of you will go home and take credit for these, because these are well thought out bipartisan bills. And now the committee, unless there's anyone else has any remarks or suggestions for today, if not, the committee concludes.